I got 258,
I
259.
got 159.
Yeah, I got 259 rolling in.
Mm-hmm.
There was something funny I was going to say in the beginning, but I don't remember what I wanted to say. Oh well.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, there we go.
Are we good? Just take your time. It's okay.
I know. I know.
Whatever whatever pops up, uh, we'll just handle. That's all. We'll see how good we are on the fly. Where's everybody at? It's almost 3 o'clock. Where's our peeps at?
They'll get here. I gotta send out the notifications
Oh,
so they
that.
know.
Oh yeah. Okay. La la
Fuck
la la
my
la.
hands.
Here we go with la 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 la. Goodness
La
gracious.
la 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 la.
Uh huh.
La
Yeah.
la la
La
la
la
la
la la
la
la.
la la la
Maybe
la
we need to
la.
record that, right?
I don't know.
I it just why does one thing like get stuck in your head?
I don't know. I am not 100% sure.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh, I'm tired. So they're gonna go, depending on what time it is. I'm not gonna go to the
mhm.
hospital because Eric would have to drag, the wheelchair and all that out, and
Oh, of
it's
course.
not fair to him. You know what I mean? I don't want to ask him after working, and it's a far walk from the parking lot into the. You got to cross a bridge, go through, over a bridge to cross the street, get in the hospital, and then, it's a big to do to get
Yup.
to, get to that part. So I don't even know if we're going down, that I'm sending them down or not. EJ's like, oh, I'm so excited. I want him to meet him, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but if she's coming home tomorrow, you know what I mean? It doesn't make kind of any sense, but because it takes
Oh, I
almost,
can get it because, you want your kids to meet each other
right,
right away.
yeah, it takes about 45 minutes, 45 to 55 minutes to get there. So,
Whew.
yeah, uh-huh.
That's
So,
like when I had my kids and we had to drive to the major city
mm-hmm,
because small towns don't deliver babies down here.
yeah. She, I don't, they built a new hospital out here. They were supposed to deliver babies, but I don't believe that started. So she has to go, again, with insurance, you're stuck going to a particular hospital. You can't go where you want. And a lot of hospitals, like the one that I'm in all the time, they don't deliver babies. Uh,
Yeah,
so a lot of them got rid of the maternity wards and are very
yeah,
limited. So,
that they are.
hmm.
Okay. All right. Now I got to just share this to one more place. Oh, there's a lot to getting this shared out.
I believe you. So we could have, just in the sharing can be chit chat share.
Yeah, that works.
And we can just chit chat about whatever the heck we want to talk about while you share the links and we wait for a couple. Oh, don't.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
You did, yes, you did.
I
Oh,
did not yawn. I was suppressing nausea.
it sounded like a
I
yawn.
was suppressing nausea. No, that was me suppressing nausea. I promise you. That was not a yawn.
It
Whew.
sounded close, but you made me yawn, man. I might go down if I pass out. We're done. Between me and you, we're out. Oh, fudge.
Oh God.
It's Friday,
Yep.
March 21st, 3:03 p.m. Crazy Bee is still not feeling well. She's slurping down on Verner's, which I've never had, which I'd like to try. I'll have to check to see if our stores
Mhm.
carry it. I would think that they
What
would.
I need to do is have someone who's over the age of 21, if we can squeeze together the money, go grab a bottle of hot like hot damn or cinnamon schnapps of some sort.
Yeah.
Um, and I've you mix it with Verner's. It tastes like those red hot candies or the hot
Oh, the
tamales.
hot balls, but them red hot balls.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it has that cinnamon ginger taste.
Okay.
And oh my god, that'll help settle anything you've got as long as
Really?
you're of legal age. I swear it helps with colds, it helps with the flu, it helps with upper respiratory congestion. I use it for everything.
It's cinnamon what?
Cinnamon schnapps mixed with
Okay.
ginger
Cinnamon
ale or
schnapps.
Verner's. I prefer
Hmm.
Verner's because Verner's is sweeter than your regular ginger ale.
Okay. I'll have to check into that. That'll be
Yep.
that might be the key to the kingdom.
It's something that I do every time I have a tummy ache.
Mm,
It's well, again, the schnapps wasn't added till I was 21, but
right.
I grew up every time you had a stomach ache, a sore throat, the flu, pneumonia, didn't matter. You stubbed your damn toe, here's some ginger ale, here's some Verner's. It
Wow.
was the automatic go-to growing up where I lived it. And anyone from Michigan will tell you it. Yep,
Wow.
Verner's.
I
You're sick? Oh, grab some Verner's.
wow, that's wild. And then did you ever try trying to think which brand I use. There's two of them. Have you tried other ginger ales and
Oh,
do you
yeah,
find they
they're just
don't
not the
compare?
same.
Do you
They
find
don't
it?
compare in my opinion,
Yeah,
but again, when you grow up on something, one specific brand,
right.
are you really gonna like anything else?
Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah, people who grew up on Lay's potato chips aren't gonna eat
Oh,
Ruffles.
you know what? Don't
If
laugh.
that's the only thing
Wait.
that was ever brought into your house, you ain't gonna touch
Well,
nothing
you know
else.
what's interesting is we had Snyder's of Berlin brought in, and then somehow I got switched over, and there's a bag of Lay's potato chips sitting on my end table. When I
Oh,
had
that's funny.
so where you're doing the schnapps and ginger ale, I'm doing Lay's potato chips and a Coke. That's my go-to uh,
Yep.
for when my stomach's acting up or whatever. That's funny how we all have different things. Or like I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
things are really like not working too well, then I go to Pepto Bismol, and I don't know why that works either, but it does. Um, all right, we have nobody in the chat yet visiting us,
Nope,
or
just one viewer over on Rumble, and that's fine. I'm sure they'll come in because again, most people are still at work and stuff right
hmm
now,
right.
so it's, one thing here, one thing there.
hmm That'd be a question that I have for the chat, uh, and you could leave it in the comments. We did
Mhm.
move back our hours to accommodate food and dinner time scheduling on the East Coast uh, for Eastern Standard Time. Basically, my accommodation. My husband going, "Where's dinner? I'm waiting." Uh, what if we went later? Would that make a difference to you? If we did something like 7 to 9?
Is pupil bigger than the other?
I don't know how the chat would feel about that. Do you think we'd have more people in the chat, Crazy
Well, the
Bee?
only thing is that's gonna cut into Lord Sterling's time, and a
Oh,
lot
that's
of
right.
followers are what
Yeah,
joint here, and
right.
so I would hate to have to make them decide one or the other.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. Okay, that's
That's
fine.
why I was always doing
Right,
so much earlier in the day.
right. So that's fine. Uh,
And people will catch us, and again, most of our numbers aren't from the live, it's
right,
from after the fact.
right.
Like, after we're already done, those numbers boom.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, but
So
if you want, we can get started on this.
okay. Let's get started and see where we go. So
Alrighty.
today, so today is part 2 of Winging a Prayer. Just so you know, Crazy B is still not feeling well, and I appreciate that she came on to help get things set up because I really don't know what the heck I'm doing yet with this new studio. She's been playing around with it, doing a great job. And I am still on grandbaby number 2 watch. We are 5 centimeters dilated, and who knows what could happen. So we
Yep.
may get interrupted with a phone call that there's a new baby, or we don't know. So again, today's part 2 of Winging a Prayer, and we are just winging it as we go. So please bear with us, and we enjoyed yesterday with all of the commentaries that people had to say, and we would hope that you'd participate again today.
All
So
right, let's hit play.
so we're starting with Trump has decided that he was going to blow up the Department of Education, and everybody on the left is going crazy. Both of the teachers' unions are going absolutely crazy. And as you can imagine, they'll be filing lawsuits against what he is doing. This is the first that he has come out about it before. He's campaigned on it, actually. But this is the most recent statement that he's put out about the Department of Education.
Actually, there was someone had said something that in all the years, I guess since 1980, Trump is the
Mm,
only president to actually put forth an effort to do something about it.
correct. Every president has said that they would do something about the Department of Education, and nothing ever got done. Just like everything else that Trump has been doing with taxes. Uh, some of I'm trying to think of the other departments he's gotten rid of. Uh,
The
but he,
wasteful spending, the
yes,
unnecessary bloat in the military part, put it
yeah,
to practical use. I mean, there is a lot he's
correct.
doing.
And if you
Stuff
could,
we've been begging
right,
for, and now everyone's mad about.
right, and that would be interesting to see on Doge, if you'd compare it to how many presidents have said, "Oh, I'll do this, I'll do that," and
Oh, I'm sure I can Google it and
yeah,
find
and
it for tomorrow or
yeah,
Sunday.
and the it just was never done. And the interesting part is everything that he is doing has been met with these legal challenges. So,
Yep, but all the other presidents promised it and then never even tried to follow
exactly.
through.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Okay, so go
So,
ahead, hit play, and we'll see what he has to say. Now, Pete
yep.
Hegseth is in the back. There was an announcement that was made that we just decided not to carry through on, as this is a discussion on the Department of Education.
But if you want to watch it, the link will be in the description when we're done. So,
Thank you.
all right, here we go.
It's a great honor to be with you. I just want to start by saying we had a meeting yesterday on the Department of Education, which is being moved. We're going to educate the children in their states where they can get a proper education. The numbers are horrible the way it is, and we're going to make a move that's very big. I don't think it's even risky a little bit. I think it's going to be amazing. It should have been done years ago. They've been talking about doing it for many years, but nobody ever got it off. But we did. And there was great excitement and great acceptance of it by almost everybody, including a lot of Democrats, actually. I do want to say that I've decided that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, headed by Kelly Loeffler, is a terrific person, will handle all of the student loan portfolio. We have a portfolio that's very large, lots of loans, tens of thousands of loans, pretty complicated deal. And that's coming out of the Department of Education immediately, and it's going to be headed up by Kelly Loeffler at SBA, and they're all set for it. They're waiting for it, and it'll be serviced much better than it has in the past. It's been a mess. And also, Bobby Kennedy, the Health and Human Services, will be handling special needs and all of the nutrition programs and everything else. Rather complex, but that's going to be headed by and handled by Health and Human Services. So I think that'll work out very well. Those two elements will be taken out of the Department of Education, and then all we have to do is get the students to get guidance from the people that love them and cherish them, including their parents, by the way, who will be totally involved in their education along with the boards and the governors and the states. And it's going to be a great situation. I guarantee that in a few years from now, I hope I'm going to be around to see it, but I think we're going to see a lot of it. I think that you're going to have tremendous results. You're going to have results like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, a lot of the countries that do so well. I think you're going to have a lot of those results. If you look at Iowa and Indiana and Idaho, so many places that run so well, Florida, Texas, big ones, you're going to have great education, much better than it is now at half the cost. And we're not even doing it as a cost item, although you will save probably half, maybe more than that. And you're not going to be at the bottom of the list. You're going to be much higher. And maybe you'll be, I will guarantee some of the states will be at the top of the list. They'll be comparable or better than these number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries, the countries that are in the top 5 positions. So that's, to me, it's very exciting, and it's been received very well. So I just wanted to tell you about the student loans and special needs.
Okay, that's where it cut off.
Yeah, they're the two areas, the loans and the special needs, that I have found to be the largest complaints from the left.
What's your
1 second, I'm going to mute.
Go ahead. Um, the and unfortunately, Crazy B has all of the documents. I probably
I'll pull them up right now. I apologize.
You're fine. You're fine. You're good.
Which one did you want first? The rankings, national or global?
It doesn't matter either or. Let's do the global first. Hi,
That's what I
Leia.
had a feeling it was going to be.
Yeah, hi, Leia. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm sorry I don't get to see the chat, but hi, Leia. Okay. Let me adjust a few things so I can do 2 at once. And I can hold on, be patient with me. I'm still learning how to do this smoothly. So we're going to close this, update. We're going to open this, and we're going to do this, that, and
And the other
boom.
thing, this
There we
fantastic thing.
go. Okay. So let me scroll down to where it matters the most.
So yeah, just scroll slowly so that you can see. No, I'm having difficulty. I probably should look at what I sent over. Hold on a second. Or actually, that's not going to work out too well. Hold on.
Um,
Hold on. We're good. So
okay, I was gonna say, you can enlarge it somehow?
uh, we just take our glasses off and throw the screen up against our face. That's all. Um,
Ah, that works.
yeah, it's very interesting. South Korea, Denmark, uh, the Netherlands, Belgium, Slovenia, Japan, Germany, Finland, Norway, Ireland, Singapore, United Kingdom, China, Hong Kong, Sweden, France, Australia, Iceland, Canada, Spain, Israel, Russia, Poland, Portugal.
Whoops.
Good.
There it is. Latvia.
Latvia, Estonia, New Zealand, Switzerland, Lithuania. That's where my ancestors hail from. Hungary, and there we are,
Then,
the United States, number 31.
hi, Blue
And we,
Rose.
hi Blue Rose, and we're supposed to be the best of the best. We're supposed to be the
Yeah.
leaders of the entire world.
I am curious. I want to see who's at the bottom.
Okay, go ahead.
The very bottom is American Samoa.
Pneumonia. Mm. Oh,
What?
look at Greenland is
Somalia is on here too.
Yeah, but look at Greenland. So doesn't Trump want to buy Greenland? Maybe we could say, hey, we'll bump up your education system for you. That's bad. That's very
Yeah.
bad.
Out of
Wonder where,
203 recognized independent countries.
yeah. Is Ukraine on there at all? I forgot to look.
I'm looking. Be patient.
There's Palestine's on there. They're 181. There it is right there.
Oh,
Ukraine is
up at the
100.
top,
Yeah,
166.
yeah. So that is global that we placed number 31. And so Trump is saying that by eliminating large portions of the Department of Education, that he expects us to be in the top 5 within a
Yep.
few years. At least
I
certain,
hope
at
so.
least some states. I don't think the entire country will be, but uh, I know our school district, other school districts. If you start really delving into the numbers, you'll be shocked at the literacy. Yeah, I can't talk.
Literacy rate.
Thank you. Rates that we have, where eighth graders cannot read at a third grade level, where math isn't being accomplished. They're going, as I told you, they're going to college is an extension of high school, and they have to go back 1 or 2 classes that do not count toward your degree in order to be able to write papers, to learn spelling. Um, it was crazy. Um,
I want to beg to. Oh, they don't even have the literacy rate for America
yeah,
where
mm-hmm,
they have the literacy rate for other
yeah,
countries. America? Nope,
mm,
it's not on there.
mm-hmm.
Why? And the date that data was taken.
Well, the other thing too I wanted to do was there's those 5 areas on the side. I wanted you to try to click on the countries with the best educational systems, or
The high ranked
yeah, or look at what the lowest adult literacy. Why can I not say that word today?
literacy.
Thank you. Rate today. What they look like. So why don't you maybe click on one of those areas and let's see
I'll
what
click
we're
on
looking.
South Korea
And there
has.
was actually a tab up there for the United States. So see
Oh,
it
there
up there?
was.
Yeah, up at the very top. It said continents. No, go back. It said at the top, at the black bar at the top. Keep going up.
Oh, this
Yeah,
one.
yes. Click on
United
there and let's see
States.
what that says.
United States ranked by population,
Hmm.
not per education.
So
This
that
is
should be
just the most populated areas.
okay. So let's look at. Oh, they have growth rates, whatever, ranked by population. Okay. All right, that doesn't give us too much. So go ahead back to where you were, maybe.
Okay. And we're back here.
Hmm.
And if you click on each one, it just gives you a breakdown of the country. Educational rankings by country from that's where we are. Top 10 highest ranked countries in education from 2024. Um, countries with the best educational system, and that's from 2021. Hi, Ann. Education rates of children around the world, and countries with the lowest adult literacy rates.
Yeah, click on that. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see where the U.S. falls.
The US does not. The lowest ones
Good.
are Chad, Mali, um, Burkina
Okay.
Faso. I can't
I
even
never.
try. South Sudan, Afghanistan, Central African Republic, Niger, Somalia, Guinea, and Benin. I have never heard of.
Me neither. That's interesting about Somalia.
Hmm.
For all
Well,
the yeah, for all the money that's sent there from Ilhan Omar and the statements that she has made, publicly saying that she would take care of Somalia. I just find that
Oh yeah.
interesting. Wonder where the money's going. Hmm. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So then the next document I believe we have is a description of the states.
No. Yep, the state
Yeah,
level
the state
rankings.
levels. We wanted to show who was number one. And again, this will be in the description. We're just going to briefly cover it. We're not going to go through all of the states. But we wanted to show you that you have the ability to go in, check your state to see where you fall.
Oops, hold on. There we
Okay.
go. Okay, so Florida right now is ranked really good for higher education,
Mhm.
and they're number 10 for pre-K through 12.
Right.
So, got to give them props.
Yep.
Utah is 5 for higher education, 6 for pre-K through 12.
That's
Massachusetts is number 1 for pre-K through 12, 37 for higher education. New Jersey is number 2 for the pre-K through 12, and higher education is 35.
right. I got.
Colorado's doing pretty decent.
Yeah. Could you click on one of those boxes, please, Crazy Bee, just so they could see what's
Um,
inside one of them?
Hold on. Which, the Florida one?
Yeah. Any of them. There you go. And
Oh,
just.
for fudge! It's going to force me to sign in.
Oh, okay. Don't worry about it then.
Yep, it's
Uh,
going to force you to sign in to do the more detailed look.
yeah. So this was. Scroll back up to the top, please. So this was part of the No Child Left Behind Act. And I'll tell you what, in my opinion, based on what I've seen from the education system, oh, they didn't leave anybody behind. They
They
grabbed
left
them
them
by
all.
the hand. Oh, they grabbed them by the hand and they dragged them forward. And they just passed them to pass them through the.
And this is where we can go and show that for a fact that the communism, everyone's equal, means everyone's equally stupid or equally poor or equally unfed. I
It,
think I've said it before. My son was doing advanced math in his head, but was stuck in a math classroom where they were doing the remedial math from the previous year because 97% of the class didn't know it. And yet he had to sit there and get bored relearning the same shit he already knew and could not get ahead.
I have, with my boys, that started back in the late 1980s.
Yep,
Uh,
it did.
they started, there were no books. There was no book for math, there was no book for spelling, reading, anything. So particularly math was frustrating because you would just get what they called a ditto sheet came home, and
Oh.
that was on the hand cranked uh, machine that spit out their papers every day, and you did math on these papers. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Now, fast forward to today, where my grandson, this is driving me absolutely crazy. Well, one, because I can't figure out how to do it, and you talk about feeling stupid. We are not doing simple things like taking 20 plus 8 is 28. They are doing a convoluted, in my opinion. I would have to bring, I'll bring an example next week of
Yep.
what the math problem looks like to demonstrate to you just how convoluted it is to get to the number 28. Why? Why are we
Uh-huh.
doing that? Why isn't it just 20 plus 8 is 28?
No, you get like 10 plus 10 plus 8. That's what they're literally making it the most
Yeah,
convoluted nonsense
yeah.
available.
Can you imagine going to the office? You're working, you're getting a job, and your boss is like, hey, I need you to add 20 plus 8. And meanwhile, instead of 20 and 8 28, you're like, well, just 5 minutes. I need 5 minutes to get to that number. Could you
Mhm.
imagine if you're in accounting and you're doing that? And it's the same thing. There are no books. So back in the day, you had a math book and you were on chapter one and you moved to, say you stayed in chapter one, but you were on, you were in maybe 4 pages and you went, huh, I forget how to do this. You could go back and look at the
Yep.
text, you could look at the examples, and you could figure out how to do it. It's not that way
Yeah.
anymore. So, how do they expect learning to occur?
I want to point out two quick comments. Anne says, I know a principal that took the test that the kids took and retook it for them.
Oh, wow.
Um, I don't know how legal that is. And
Hi,
then
Ann.
she goes, they want kids to think differently or different ways to solve problems. But the way they're doing it is making it so parents can't even help them with
Right.
this process. And I was one of those kids that, like, I want to know why 1 plus 1 equals 2. Explain it to me. How do we know that's actually 1? What if it's what if it's actually 3? What if this what we're looking at is actually 3? I was that kid that overthought everything and the teachers got sick of me and I failed math because of it.
Uh, I don't disagree that they want children to think differently. I think, though, there are some core classes or core points that are
Fundamentals.
just fundamentals. That's a good word, Crazy Bee. That there are core fundamentals that are just, this is the way it is. 9 times 9 is 81. You have to memorize your times tables up to 12. That's just the way it is.
And
Um,
see, but memorizing the times tables was bad for me.
hmm
It did not work, for me as a kid. If I understood how to do the math, the multiplication, it made it easier for me than actually memorizing them.
Well, yeah, kids learn differently. I mean, we have verbal, we have, visual, we have auditory, and combinations of that, and hands-on, right? I'm not
Oh,
an auditory learner whatsoever. I cannot do
well,
on tape.
you have a personal
Yeah,
tutor in the chat.
who's a tutor here?
No, she taught math for 25 years, Miss,
Oh,
Ann, Mrs.
and we
Ann.
might, yeah, and we might be, we might be calling you help. We have math problem. You know what? I'm
What's
gonna
1 plus 1?
Wait, no. I'm going to bring his whole math page and we'll sit there and we'll have Ann help us see if we can figure out how to do it. Math for dummy parents or something, Dummy Parents 101. Uh,
Yeah.
it is extremely frustrating. And when you, as a parent, can't help your child, uh,
You're just one step more removed from being part of their education.
correct, and then problems, I think, then occur between the parent and child, right? What do you mean you can't get this? I don't know how to help you. And then you go back to school with papers that are incomplete, and the child has not, what has the child learned or accomplished? If the if they
And
need
then you feel like a failure as a parent.
exactly, exactly. And then the other issue we now have, as we well know, that is documented, is what has COVID done? How much time have we lost for COVID? I thank God that, my grandson didn't start kindergarten until after COVID was over. I
Yeah.
cannot imagine children from kindergarten through high school or college that were stuck at home either by themselves with their siblings, trying to be on a tablet or a computer to have class. I truly don't know how they did it. And I do believe the stats show that we slid backwards.
We
That,
did, because a lot of kids, mine in particular, if I did not drag my kids into my room one at a time to do their classes
uh-huh,
with me, they would not have done it. I had them sitting next to me on the bed because at this point my back had already been screwed up from the accident.
right.
And you're not dummies. It's just so different from the way you learned. Exactly. Um, but I had to literally drag my kids in one at a time and go through the lessons with them.
I have a question for Anne. So, since she did math for 25 years, which did you think was, in your opinion, better? The old uh, memorization, the old, 20 plus 8, you had to know your numbers versus this. Again, I'd have to bring a copy of the sheet, but let's say Crazy B is right. 10 plus 10 plus 8 is 28. Which did you prefer one over the other? Did you think one was better? Which which in particular do you think that the children learned best with? Would be my question for Anne.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a
I'm
really
just,
good question.
I mean, I'm really curious uh, with with the stats and everything. Now,
Oops.
I taught as an assistant professor at a community college, and I did a combination of everything in my classroom, trying to meet the needs. But I had students uh, ranking from those that just graduated from high school all the way to adults. So it was a very difficult challenge trying to keep all those people engaged. Um, Trying to get anybody to answer a question, that was pretty funny. I mean, I ended up having to call on you. I'd be like, Crazy B, what's the answer to question number 5? Because people would just sit there and look at you like you were crazy. Uh,
Yeah. But
yeah,
again, when you look at how some of the school system has been set up, you're not allowed to basically speak until spoken to. You're not allowed to everyone's afraid they're gonna answer wrong because
hmm
they really don't know.
right.
And I think that's part of the biggest problem.
hmm Uh,
Oh, here, Anne, it's hard to say. I retired when they started the Common Core, which is what my
I-
kids learned. I really like the idea of Common Core, but I don't like the way they implemented the program.
yeah, that's what it was called, Common Core. Yeah,
Yep.
and they started that around, let's see, the boys would have started school like around 93, 94.
I was gonna say it was the early '90s when Common
Yeah,
Core got brought in.
yeah. And I believe they're still using it today. Uh, I think
Yes,
that's
they are.
okay. So,
My poor
uh,
niece.
so for my grandson, who he's struggling with reading, he's good at math. Like, fortunately, he can get the math, but the reading portions, again, there is no uh, having a book with words, being able to read them, and we read to him. We have our own books, things that we do. He did have a IEP in place, uh, and this year they kicked him off of the program, saying, "Oh, he's doing okay." But, huh? Do I dare tell you why I believe he was kicked out of the program? You know what the reason is. We had certain people come into the area
Yeah,
that took the place.
needed more help.
That needed more help. That took the place of American children, and we'll leave it at that.
She
Uh,
says, I was teaching high school and I had to teach Common Core and geometry.
oh
That
my!
was a total oh my god. I
I
was trying to help my daughter with some geometry, and the way they were trying to teach her was the most convoluted bullshit on how to find your XY axis points,
hmm,
your points for X and Y. Oh my God. I'm like, girl, X is left, Y is right,
uh-huh,
and then plot it.
yeah,
They were
I,
trying to send her through this nightmare of how to find X, how to
yeah,
find X is on the left, Y is on the right.
uh-huh. What was so? Why did it have to be made so difficult? What was the purpose behind Common Core? And that in of itself is a whole nother.
It was so math would be taught the same way across the board, not in different ways, I believe, was the reason they did that because some schools were teaching one way, other schools were teaching another. Basically, they were doing what worked for the kids. And if
Yeah.
I remember correctly here in America, and again, I was a kid when this was brought into effect. So
Okay.
don't count on my memory. This is like 30-ish years ago.
All right.
I believe they brought it in so it would be across the board teaching.
I I'm interested to know from the time, how does that compare to what the states were doing, individually at the time? Did Common Core achieve what they set out to do? Would be the question.
Um.
Did the states with
Oh,
Common
okay. Oh, here she is. She's got a better answer than I did.
Okay,
Common Core was supposed to teach concepts, not just rules. Thank
okay,
you. Much better than what I remember. That's a better explanation.
concept.
Well, and
So,
again, I'm a concept learner. I like logic to make I like it to make sense. But some of the way they're doing it is just so convoluted. Oh my lord. Like I said, trying to teach my daughter XY access points. Okay, this point goes on this is how far you go on X, and this is how far you go on Y. The way they were teaching it was absolute madness.
mm-hmm,
And it's like, and mind you, I failed algebra 3 times. I
mm-hmm,
finally got to geometry and I could sleep through that class. It made so much sense to me.
right. When I
I'm one of those people that angles and corners, the actual complete space and all
right.
that, how much space is in this weird shape thing. I'm a pro. I can
Well,
do that.
here's what was
Mostly in my
interesting
head.
is I told you I didn't go back to school until almost 15 years after I graduated from high school, right? So
Uh-huh.
I've been in the workforce. So it's not like I didn't write reports, uh, whatever, memos, letters, whatever, anything like that. I go and to the local community colleges where I started. I knew that I sucked at math, so I put myself back to the very beginning of almost 1 plus 1 is 2. And there are
Uh-huh.
2 classes that you took right before the college course. So I paid for 2 classes that did not count towards my degree in math. And I take this English class, and he calls me in before, you have so many days or weeks or whatever before, you could get your money back or whatever. And he's like, Dee, I really recommend that you go back. And I'm like, what do you mean go back? He goes, well, your research papers aren't up to par. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're not up to par. Uh oh. No, that's not.
Uh-oh, take the call.
I
Yep.
said, what do you
Okay.
mean they're not up to par? I know how to write. I know what I'm doing. He goes, this isn't what we're looking for. I said, okay. So I put myself back to the beginning of English 001 and went through the
Yep.
whole frickin' process to get up to, uh, to take the regular
Modern
course again.
standards.
And if that's what's occurring in colleges still going on today, what does that say about what's occurring in the schools? How is it that, well, one, I'm curious, how is it that I was able to be in the workforce successful as a manager, but yet I'm told I can't write a paper? Why? That never made sense to me, but I did as I was told, and it took a year to
Mhm.
be able to move through the process. So I wouldn't want to see that for anybody. And now that we have all these children that have been caught up in the COVID situation, what do we do with them?
It's going to have
I
to be
don't
a
know
lot
the answer
of
to that
taking
question.
more
I
classes
mean,
again
how
and
many of them
stepping up.
are having difficulties? How many of them had to go get tutoring, special classes? Uh, why don't you just throw your iced tea everywhere? Why not?
Well,
We threw 28 ounces of water. By the way, in case you didn't know, this is Winging a Prayer Part 2. So we're winging it. Crazy Bee is not feeling good, and I am on baby alert 5 centimeters. So we shall see
almost there.
where things go.
But I want to add
So
to the
if
comments really quick about
the show
geometry
just
and
happens to
algebra.
accidentally cut off altogether, you guys know Crazy Bee is probably somewhere sick. and I'm probably jumping up and down for joy with having baby grandson number 2. So
Okay.
we're on
Can
wing
you
and a
hear me?
prayer. What do we got up next, Crazy B?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Uh-oh.
Shit. You can't hear me. Oh, okay. Can anyone in the audience hear me? Hello? Is it my end? No? I don't know. If you can hear me, let me know. I think D will be back in a second. Okay, I'm heard. Okay, so D couldn't hear me. She'll be back. I want to point out that with the math stuff, well, D's coming back in. I couldn't understand algebra until I had a practical purpose to use it. So when I was a medical assistant,
Hello?
and oh, there you are. I
How
was saying before we move on, I wanted to address a couple of the comments about the algebra and stuff.
so
Um,
I so I was talking to myself again? Is that
no,
what
you were
was
talking to the audience. Just
okay,
you couldn't hear me. You couldn't
okay,
hear me for some reason. Everyone else could,
okay.
but
We have no
no, with
idea what's going on with that, so
yeah. But when it came to algebra, none of that made sense until I had to learn how to dose medication based on body mass. And then all of a sudden, algebra made sense. It's like, okay, now I have a reason to use it. Some kids actually need a practical purpose to use this math in order for it to make sense. And I think that's where some of the schools are going wrong is some kids just don't learn from a book or even just doing it on paperwork. Sometimes we just need, hey, you want to learn how to do fractions? Let's make a cake.
mhm.
That is one of the easiest ways to learn fractions
Yes.
is by baking a recipe. That's how my daughters even learned pretty good about
And that
fractions because of that.
and I've been doing that with my grandson since he was 5.
Yep.
Uh in fact, the other day he said to my son, "Hey daddy, I'm hungry." And my son goes, "Well, just give me a minute, I'll make something for you." And then he goes into the kitchen and he went, "Oh my God." And there's my grandson with the bowl and soup and knew what to do, put it in the microwave, and he was just,
Yep.
and it's all about making a connection, at least I think, a practical connection.
Well, there's also the generation like my mom thought my daughter at 8, 9 years old was too young to be learning how to scramble eggs. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Bull crap.
Mm-hmm.
She's old enough to stand there. She's smart enough to know not to touch something hot.
Right.
I stand over her the first couple of times till she gets it right, and then I can leave her. And I
Correct.
don't have to stand over her no more." It's
Mm-hmm.
also these parents that just don't want their kids to grow up too. They're
True.
holding their children back. And there was one situation with one of my nieces. She was told, "Oh, you have to soak the knives in the dishwater before you can wash them." And I said, "Bull crap, you do. Here at my house, you leave the knives to the side until the rest of the dishes are done so you don't stab yourself while trying to find a plate."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and again, some parents are just over the top, not thinking to protect their kids, and the other ones are thinking, "Oh, I have to do everything for my kids."
Well,
And it drives me nuts.
don't you think that has to do with the generation that came up where they're kind of uh what's the word I want to use? I want to be kind about it. Uh
I don't know. My mom's from your generation, and she's the exact opposite of you. She's an overbearing, well, I can't use the word I want to use.
right, right.
You
Well, I think
know,
we
because I've
have,
told you
yeah,
the
right,
circumstances.
right.
But
I
then there's
always think
people like
there's,
you who are the opposite.
yeah, but I think there's the claim that we have a whole generation that are kind of clueless, that don't know what they want to do. They're lazy. They don't want to take those extra steps. And what do we do when they then have children and try to bring those children up? Does that
Yeah.
continue through? And it
Well, I
wasn't
know with
his
my
intent.
nieces and nephews, I try to undo some of the damage parents are doing. Like, "Oh,
Right.
you're not allowed to cook? Watch this, sweetheart. Come on.
Hmm. Right. Right.
I know you're old enough and mature enough to handle a
Hmm.
hot pan. I
Right.
get it. So, come on, let's learn how to do this." And I
Right.
involve them in it.
And I,
And it's
it,
just the best way to teach kids.
right. I mean, you get the measuring cups out, the
Rhymes with
measuring
which?
spoons.
No, rhymes more with punt.
No, we're not allowed to say that word.
It rhymes more with punt. And I think of me as British or Australian.
We're not allowed to use that word. We're sticking with what Blue Rose had to say. We'll go that route. We're not getting in trouble. You're not allowed to say that word on the channel. Although I don't disagree that's what she is, but
The other word. Yes.
there, yeah, Ann got it. Thank you, Ann.
And thank you.
She got
Like
see, she learned her spelling very well.
one day if I feel like doing a trauma dump on this
Mhm.
episode, I'll let you know, but honestly I don't feel like trauma dumping people.
Okay, we
Um
have Art in the chat. He
my
says,
mom was a tough German woman with my dad was Norwegian, both born in the 1920s. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
I bet you had a very fun life.
Yeah, that had to
And
be kind of like the opposite, kind of. Uh,
yeah,
well,
but
wait,
again,
yeah, let it, or were they opposites or were they on the same page?
that's a good question.
So we know the parental attitudes are generational, but given their background, being German and Norwegian, uh,
Because that's also cultural
mm-hmm,
upbringing too, not
right,
just generational.
right, with
And that kind of places you at an age where I can guess that you're old enough to be my dad, and I would honestly say, every generation is different. I'm like, I've talked about this before. My dad tried his best to not repeat his father's mistakes. My mother, on the other hand, just duplicated it, didn't think twice.
mm-hmm,
My grandmother was full-blooded German. My mom was a lot like her. We were never late. And that's interesting because my family is all over. Like literally just throw a dart at mainly the Slavic and Balkan regions of Europe, and you're gonna find a country where I have a family member from. Okay, and then also take in the Jewish, Gypsy. I mean, take your pick: German, Austrian, Polish, Greek.
you
I'm
know,
from all over the frickin' globe, and I was raised in a very bizarre way. I don't care for how my parents. Well, I don't care for how my mom raised me. My dad did better.
Anne and Art just had me have an epiphany after, I'll date myself, 44 years of marriage and 50 years of being together. And I have never made the connection. Uh, so my husband is German and Swedish. Uh, and this makes sense what you guys are saying about the German side. Uh
They're very big
huh.
sticklers.
Huh.
And I am too.
I
I think
I'm
my
I'm
German
like,
side shows a
yeah.
lot too.
I'm like, I'm kind of like in shock right here. I'm like, huh. I got to rethink a lot of shit that's been been said or done between the two of us. This now makes
Oh,
sense.
okay, so they started their family late, so you're my mom's age. Okay, and he's up there with you.
Oh, well,
Okay.
just tell everybody how old I am. Why don't you? That's
I coulda
okay.
said you were born in the 1860s, but I'm nice.
Oh yeah. Remember, you could be my daughter, and I could just slap the shit out of you. You know what I mean? That's still
Good
good.
luck driving down here to do so.
Oh yeah, I'll come down. Don't worry. You know what I mean. Whap. I'll drive down, whap you one, and just turn around and drive back home.
Okay, I'll take the digital slap. Ow, my
Okay.
cheek.
See, see what I got to put up with the
But
It's,
I wanna point out that it is interesting that your dad was a Democrat and your mother was a Republican. That really is
yeah.
interesting to me.
You would have
That
thought
is
she was a
so
Democrat, huh?
interesting. Usually it's the moms who are Democratic leaning
Yeah.
and the dads who are stern Republican conservative.
Hmm.
Um, I was born in 56. Oh, yes, you are, technically. Yes, you would be in the room.
Okay. Yes, Anne, I have you. I hold you in the highest regard. You can slap my
Amen.
daughter anytime you want. So just come on down, slap her one.
Art.
Yep. She may.
He
Oh, yeah.
says you might
You
fly
know
down
what?
on your broomstick instead of having to drive.
You know what? Don't laugh, Art, because I do have a broomstick, and we talk about that often. That's so funny that you picked up on that.
You pick the broomsticks. My weapon of choice is a cast iron pan. It has been for 20
Well,
years since I got
hey,
married
you
and
got
then
the cast.
divorced
You got the
and
cast
then
iron
moved back
pan
in with
with an
the
egg
ex.
in it. You have an egg in it now. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so funny. Anytime she miss, anytime. Oh, Your Majesty, I have just bowed down to you, Anne. I have just did the hand movement, and I have bowed
The
down to you, Anne,
curtsy.
the curtsy. But it's funny because anytime there's a, I want to, carry on or slap her or she says something or whatever, I send the frying pan with an egg on. I don't even comment.
Or when
I
I
just,
start talking in circles because of
yeah,
my autism,
yeah.
you will
I'll
send the
just,
frying pan to
I'll
knock
send
me
the
out of my
frying,
circle.
yeah, so that she gets out of her head. So she's yet to come up with an emoji for me, but there we go. Blue Rose got it.
I'm
There's my
dead
broomstick.
laughing.
Uh-huh. I do. I'm
Uh,
serious. We talk about that all the time about I'll come down on my broomstick. I'm not ashamed. I have one. You know,
oh, yeah.
just as I think it was said earlier, I think Blue Rose
But
said it
will
just
your broomstick keep up with the Amish horses down the road?
I think my broomstick goes a little bit faster than they do. Because they're clomp clomp
Sorry.
clomp, but
We have completely gotten off topic here,
that
but yes,
hey,
and
hey, we told
and
you
Art's
today is
family
swinging a
is into politics.
yeah, it's
Oh,
swinging a
wow,
prayer
wow.
day. So
But
okay, so let's
okay,
take
let's
the
start
broom.
this next
Where are we
video.
going
It's
with the
only a
broom
few
up
minutes.
next? Okay, so we went through the staff. The
We now have the Jesse Waters, where you
yeah,
had me clip out the beginning of all the things and
mm,
then his little comments about what the Democrats are doing. All
correct.
right, here we go.
Get there that are gone. Commerce, education, and the what's the third one there?
The government shouldn't be in the middle of everything, and we certainly don't need a federal Department of Education.
We propose to dismantle 2 cabinet departments, energy
Hi, JJ. Just want to
Hi,
say
JJ.
hi.
Thank you for setting your alarm.
All right.
and education. There's only one way to shrink the size and cost of big government, and that is by eliminating agencies that are not needed and are getting in the way of a solution.
Well, Trump just did it with a stroke of a Sharpie.
I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all. We're going to be returning education very simply back to the states where it belongs, and this is a very popular thing to do, but much more importantly, it's a common sense thing to do, and it's going to work. I want to just make one little personal statement. Teachers, to me, are among the most important people in this country, and we're going to take care of our teachers. And I don't care if they're in the union or not in the union. That doesn't matter.
47's tearing down another pillar of liberalism. The Department of Education was started under Jimmy Carter, and it was supposed to make our kids smarter. 4 decades later, it's failed.
Caroline, what do you say to critics of the president's education plan?
Where was their criticism of our nation's failing test scores for the last several decades? The Department of Education was founded in the 1970s, and since then we have spent more than $3 trillion at this federal bureaucracy. What has been the return on that investment for the American taxpayer? Levels that are less than ideal, less than proficient. Our children's test scores are incredibly concerning when it comes to reading rates, literacy rates, math, and science test scores. The numbers prove that.
We're spending $250 billion a year, and as Bush said, is our children learning? We're spending more money than we did in the 70s, but reading scores are lower now than they were in the 70s.
So what's all this money going to?
Good question. Where is it going?
I'm live. Where is all this money going if it's supposed to be going to educate kids?
I mean,
Where's
they're not buying books. Where's it
I,
going?
I well, yeah, they're not buying books anymore. They're using these little Chromebooks and laptops and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Well,
So
I will
where
tell you.
is all this going?
Well, I'd venture to guess here's probably where some of it's going. For example, in our school district, and we had no vote, we had no
Oh
idea it was
yeah.
even occurring. They
Yep.
created a police department that had a police chief and 8 officers to patrol the schools. We had no say. That should have been voted on by the constituents in the district. It was not. The state came back and said there was absolutely nothing we could do about it. How does that happen? Why weren't they brought in through the township's police department? Why didn't they add some additional police to the township to do the patrols? It's the craziest thing. So not only did they bring them in, but they planned out their future for their pensions. And we funded the pensions right away for these police officers. So is that where the money went?
I don't know.
I mean, because we sure
Um
heck there's no books.
Okay, he says the federal Department of Education is just a source of money for the local schools. Most education is already run by the local
Yeah. And we
districts.
have some information on that as we go further into uh,
Yeah.
the data.
So, all right, let me hit play. This is just some questions. Yeah, but she brought up a good point about this reporter saying is our children learning instead
Yeah,
of our.
yeah, that's Bush,
I don't know if
right?
that's worded right. Is that worded right? It sounds weird.
No,
Are
that's what
our children learning?
are our children learning.
But she said it sounded like the reporter said, "Is our children
That's
learning?"
what Bush said. He said, "Is our
Oh,
children
he did
learning?"
say it that way.
Yes, that's what he said. That was her point. Was with the education system, look, even the president of the United States is messing up.
Yeah, again, proper English is not
Uh huh.
being taught.
Uh huh.
All right, let's keep going.
A third of America's students can barely read. 8th grade reading just hit its lowest level ever. College kids can't pass simple civics exams. Want proof? Here's Johnny.
Who was the first president of the United States?
First president of the United States? That was...
Where is Ukraine?
Ukraine. Don't make me sound stupid.
It's in the world.
How's Kamala doing?
Kamala? I don't even know who that is. I don't even know who that is.
What happened on the first Thanksgiving?
The first Thanksgiving? The Pilgrim...
Okay, that's not even civics, that's history and geography. I don't know where they're getting civics when they pointed that out.
No.
Just going to say that when the news reporters are saying they don't understand civics, but are asking history questions and geography questions,
What
and
does
I
that
know where
say?
they are. I'm refraining from blurting out the answer,
I know.
but still,
Do they?
let's
They
continue.
don't even. They don't even know.
Exactly. So, yeah, let's go see how much more stupid the news is, along with the students that they don't.
Right.
Yeah, anyways, let's continue.
Crooks went on a bender.
And then they ate turkey.
Kids can't read, write, or do math, but that's not stopping them from graduating. Teachers are just inflating grades to meet standards and passing them anyway. So the schools hit their numbers and keep getting paid. In Connecticut, a student is suing her school district for graduating her with honors, even though she was illiterate. I thought the Wolf of Washington cared about the kids.
When people ask me what are the 3 most important issues facing the Congress, from my whole time in Congress, I've always...
And just so you guys know, I am doing a deep dive, and Dee's going to be helping doing a deep dive into this woman. I can't stand her at all. So,
It'll
let's
be
continue.
okay. It'll be
Oh,
okay.
wait till you guys find what I find.
I've always said the same thing. Our children, our children, our children. When people ask me what are the three most important issues facing the Congress, I always say the same thing. Our children, our children, our children. I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to talk about the future, America's working family.
I want to point this out to Art. I was raised the same way. We did not have internet. We barely got to touch TV. We didn't have computers, game systems, and stuff like that. I would be sitting out in the woods on a fallen tree next to a creek reading my third book of the day. Our punishment was books being taken away from us.
Right.
Okay, that was, and I was born in '83. I'm a baby, and I will tell you, books were my life. Books
They
and
were
music.
right. They were a getaway.
Yes.
They were the escape that we had. And I can remember getting on a bus, having to travel, and you'd go, and there was the library, and we were allowed to take out 10 books, and I'd read 10 books a week. I mean, it
Yep.
truly was an escape. I mean, we had the conversation earlier as to back at that time, you had very limited television stations. There CBS, NBC, uh, what am I missing? WPGH and the others. So there was like maybe 5 stations that you had. I
He's making
t-shirts
fun
full
of
of
my age. But Anne brought up a good point. It's almost impossible to teach with cell phones in the classrooms. Yeah.
Well, why are they even in the classroom? I don't understand that. I mean,
Oh, that was a big up to do. Quite a few schools. You can't take my kid's phone. What if I need to contact them? What happened to calling the school office and passing the message?
exactly. Or why can't they be put in a basket in the front of the room and picked
Yeah.
up later?
Yep.
Huh. Yeah.
I would not let my kids help. My kids didn't have cell phones till they could help pay the bill for it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Both my kids ended up getting a job.
Yeah, that
I really would not allow it. And my kids were limited on game systems and stuff until they were much older. My son is a prolific reader. He loves reading. My daughter, to a degree, will sit and read, but she's more music and art inclined. So she'd rather sit in her room, throw on some music, and start drawing.
Mhm.
Um, CBS, NBC, ABC, PBS, what that was
About
about it
it.
back in the day. PBS was much later.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah, we
remember
had
PBS kid.
we had WPGH, which was ended up turning into sports and some other things. But and then there was
Mhm.
another local channel that we had. That was it. And they all played very similar types of, as far as the news went, it was everybody repeated the same thing.
And you sound
Yeah.
like our triplet.
Yeah. Yeah, Anne. Isn't that the truth? Yeah, it was it was an escape, wasn't it? It was
It
truly
had
an
to be.
escape. Yeah, to get to the library.
If and
I
I'm
I
not going to make assumptions about other people's growing up, but grew up in a very tumultuous home. A lot of fighting, a lot of yelling, throwing things, attitudes. And so books and practicing my instruments or my martial arts was my way to get away from it. And so I don't want to assume anyone else went through that, but I'm pretty sure it's a common thread
Mhm.
that people who had rough home lives really spent a lot of time in fantasy books or sci-fi books or mystery books, anything to take us out of what we were going through.
When I was uh going to the major library and that, I obviously from being there every week became very good friends with librarians. I wanted to be a librarian. Shit, I still know the Dewey Decimal System. I could
So do
still
I.
I could still sit down and show you how to use a microfiche machine.
Yep.
Uh, research your books, do whatever you want. I told you I was doing research papers in the towards the late 90s, And this was before. We're on baby alert. I'll be right back.
Oh,
Hold on.
okay, be right back.
Okay.
I gotta know. The joke at work was we give Art the manual and a fifth of bourbon on Friday. By Monday, he's teaching us like he's been doing it 20 years. And funny thing about me is I'm a button pusher. I like to know how things work. I like to play with things to see how they work and then explain them to other people. And I've always joked, don't ever put me in a nuclear silo because I will be pushing buttons to see what they do. That's how I learned to operate the studio. That's how I learned to operate Discord. I just go push buttons. And yeah, never put me in a nuclear silo in charge of nukes of any kind. So yeah, I'm totally not someone to trust around a lot of buttons that do dangerous things. I've always been the hands-on learner. My childhood, I mean, there's pictures of me in a diaper handing my dad tools in the garage, whether he needed them or not, because I found mechanics much more fascinating than reading some books. Books are for entertainment. If you want me to learn something, just hand it to me and I'll play with it. I love those brain teaser puzzles and stuff. Oh, my ex-husband's sitting over there giving me the middle finger. No, I'm not. I'm live, by the way, and if you get us kicked off this platforms, I'm going to wring your bloody neck. So, I have a feeling it's going to be.
And we're back. And
on duty or?
We're still in the same position that we're at, and they had to give her another epidural and more Pitocin. So we're still at 5 centimeters. So who knows?
Fingers crossed.
It might be early tomorrow morning. I'm thinking it's tomorrow, but we'll see.
Or late tonight. I was late at night.
Yeah.
Well, no, I wasn't late at night. Doctor was leaving to go for his lunch shift, and they get called back because literally just checked my mom, finished his rounds on the floor, was getting the elevator for lunch, and all of a sudden, nope, doc, your lunch is delayed.
Mm-hmm. So he called because my other grandson had called he wanted to see his mother FaceTime, and they wouldn't let him. So, which is fine.
No, that's bull crap.
Well, that's okay, but I'm like, how do you leave you a message? I have his phone and everything. But anyway, they're due home, so you may hear some screaming or whatever going on when he comes in. So again,
yeah, and that's okay.
Winging a Prayer Day number 2 with Crazy B not feeling well and me.
Okay, we got a bet for Saturday morning. I'm going late tonight.
There we go.
We're looking at a late at night midnight baby. Watch him be a midnight baby.
Yep, I have a funny feeling. Yep, we shall see. So let's go ahead, hit play.
All righty.
Families for the children. It's always about the children.
Nancy Pelosi talks more about January 6th than reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now, what have we done to fix this? We've filled public schools with more teachers just to inflate union dues. And the unions send those dues to Democrats. They shut down schools during COVID and said reopening them would be racist.
Today, state legislators released a revised plan in Senate Bill 86 to try to force schools to physically reopen. If you condition funding on the reopening of schools, that money will only go to white and wealthier schools that do not have the transmission rates that low-income Black and brown communities do. This is a recipe for propagating structural racism.
And while the schools were closed, the teachers' unions stayed home and danced. Forced Biden to keep the schools closed, and our children got dumber and more depressed. And now Randi's rewriting history.
Really? COVID was a terrible time for us. And as you know, because I was on your show a lot and other shows, I wanted schools to be reopened as early as April of 2020. the issue was the fear and the issue was the safety issues. But COVID has really hurt in so many ways. But this has been a Republican talking point for a long time.
Well, Republicans have been talking about it because they heard what Randi said.
And if people are in high risk, they shouldn't be in school. They should be doing things remotely. Just because Donald Trump wants to take a risk with people who go to bars or beaches, those of us who have spent our life teaching kids are not going to take a risk with kids or with our members' lives.
I beg to differ. Oh my God, this is what's going to get me in trouble. I will have to keep my opinion for later, but the schooling, even if they were doing schooling from home, they were teaching the exact same way. That's why. If I had pneumonia once. I spent a month in the hospital with it. I still had schoolwork to do and I still got A's and B's on it. I don't want to hear this crap that because they were home, yes, to a degree it causes a problem, but it's also the style of teaching that's gotten bad. It's not just the location.
We have a message that there's no sound playing.
Oh, shit. There should have been.
Okay, let's see. Let's continue, and if you still don't hear any sound, Blue Rose, let us know, please.
Please do, yes.
Remote and hybrid are really the only two ways you can reopen schools safely.
The unions wanted to keep schools closed because they got hundreds of millions of dollars and they didn't have to go to work. What did they do with the money?
Are you hearing the video? I hope.
Well, they bought a few hand sanitizer stations and the rest of the money disappeared. A lot of it got embezzled. For them, it was about money and power.
Oh, yeah, there was a part where they cut out the audio. Yeah, there was a part where they cut out the audio
When they
because
were
of the
dancing.
copyright stuff.
Yeah, because of copyright, yeah.
Or because the songs were inappropriate to play publicly. All right, that's why. Okay.
Power.
NEA, we have to win all the things.
I am so sorry for your eardrums. Let me turn this down just a tad.
You know
Holy
what?
crap.
This witch.
Go ahead.
We have a little bit of information on her. She is the president of the National Education Association. I have a question for the chat. We have now seen 3 people. Randi Weingarten. This one is, yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I can't remember their names. I really don't care about them, to be honest with you. But I want to know why we cannot talk in a calm, civilized manner. What is the purpose of this screaming? What does this accomplish?
They're all yelling.
They're all yelling. This is such a turnoff for me. This is immaturity at its finest. At least that's how I feel about it. I think probably they think screaming is going to get their point across. Yeah, DEI higher probably. But these are the people that are in charge of the teachers' unions. So if they are behaving this way, how do you think things are going to trickle down?
Oh, God. If the adults behave badly, the kids are going to be worse.
It comes from the top. This behavior comes from the top and works its way down through the teachers' union and the teachers that are in the union.
Yep.
It's unacceptable.
I did turn down the volume for the sake of you guys because she does get loud. Okay. Let me hit play so she can finish screaming.
Hey,
and
beautiful.
We'll get back to conversation. Oh, little guy's there?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All the things. All the things. Our colleagues are depending on us to win all the things. Keep going, NEA. To preserve democracy, we must win all the things. Delegates, we won't go back. We will keep going forward.
Since when did education become an activist rally?
Hi, baby. Baby's not
I'm
born.
really curious. When did education become an activist rally?
Exactly.
Just something to keep in mind. Does she think she's a preacher? Possibly.
I don't.
Possibly.
I don't. Preacher. Oh, I don't even know if I consider that to be preaching. That's
Most bureaucratic types never did teach and probably can't teach, but they're in charge of what and how things are taught on the front lines. That's why I taught college level.
uh-huh.
Yep. Let's get through her screaming and preaching, and can I get an amen? Right?
Amen. And you should have left the volume up so they would have. They would have been able to enjoy the.
Oh no, but
Uh,
I don't want ruptured eardrums, perforated eardrums, bleeding eardrums. I'm trying to be nice here. So, okay, let's get through this last few moments. There's like a minute or so left. This is she's done.
Because we are the NEA! We are the NEA!
We
We
are
are
the
the NEA!
I am so sorry.
The teachers' unions got stronger and the parents got shut out. Girls were getting raped in bathrooms by trans boys, and dads were getting arrested at school board meetings for calling it out. The Biden administration actually spied on parents who called out CRT in the classrooms. Even though, explain to everybody what the Department of Education even does, Chris, and what it means now that it's basically gone.
Well, in short, the Department of Education functions as a left-wing slush fund. It sends more than $100 billion a year to left-wing universities around the country. It subsidizes K-12 schools in all 50 states. And then it has 4,000 employees, most of whom are focused on left-wing race and gender activism and pushing those ideological ideas into the classroom everywhere in blue.
Yep. He goes on to say in blue states, but yeah. What do we do with these people?
I don't know, but I will. We'll continue as there's information that goes on. So
Actually, the video's done.
right, but we have
If you
papers
guys
that
want the rest, you can go ahead and pull it up on the link from the description when we're done. But
we
yeah,
give.
the school
We
system's a royal mess.
we give it to y'all, and what we don't give you, it's still in the description below.
Yep. And given the time frame, there's about a half hour left of the 2-hour mark. Do we want to just call it an early day, let you go on baby watch,
No,
and
she's
pick up
stuck at
more
5
tomorrow?
centimeters. Why don't we? What paper's up next?
Actually, not paper. Next was continuing the border stuff from yesterday.
Oh, where's? Oh, that's right. I don't know. Oh, grasshopper. We're gonna try to share our screen because I wasn't able to send that file to you because it said that it was too big, and Nitro wanted me to pay more money to get it sent to you. That's what happened.
Okay.
And I
So
even
we're going to
tried.
teach you how to share a screen, and I'm
Yeah.
going to
So
go
hold.
ahead and
Yeah.
minimize us back over here again.
Okay. So
I was
hold
going
on
to.
a second. I got to go find it. And so I even tried to go in and I wanted to cut the ads and everything off of it. It would not let me. I apologize. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
So I do
if
have
you had
this
sent it to me,
article
I could
here
have
to
edited it
share.
up really
It's a
quick.
little bit lengthy article, but I think this will sum up the basis of what we wanted to discuss just
I
starting out
think
with
I
the
got to give
Department
you
of
permission to
Education.
do this.
So
Oh, no,
I
I don't
have
got to
the
give you
document
permission.
up from my files. What do I do
Okay.
next?
So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the screen share. You see it in there?
Okay. Hold on. Where do I
Tap on
find?
that.
Wait, where do I find? Do I got to go over
By
to
the
editor mode?
microphone. By the microphone, and yes, you're going to want to pull up editor.
Okay,
Oh no,
hold on.
not
Let me get.
necessarily editor. Just It's because it's at the bottom of your screen.
Okay, I
You'll see your
see.
microphone, your camera, the settings, and then there's a box with an arrow pointing up.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
screen share.
Okay. So I press that, and
Yep.
it says
And then it's
continue.
going to
This
ask you to add.
guess what? This device does not support screen share.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh, that's funny as all heck. Uh, I don't know any other way to
Um,
get it.
email.
We could, but then that's going to take a little while. So we are
Yeah.
at the 1.5 hour mark. If you guys don't mind, it is Friday. At least where I'm at, the sun is shining, the sky is blue, a baby is coming. I'm not sure about you, Crazy Bee. What's your weather like down there?
Oh, we'll see you later, Anne. Thank you for stopping in.
Uh, so why don't we just call it an early day then, and we can pick up. I'll try to figure out how to get this file to you. All right.
Yep. JJ was saying something of looking into FTP site to store videos.
Okay.
Well, this is a document, a long document, not so much a video. Um, Leia, no, we have not covered the JFK files yet. I'm still working on that. That's a lot to download.
Yeah, that's gonna probably be what, at least a week or so. Uh, Probably won't be till the beginning of April, I would say. The first week in April, maybe, for the JFK.
Yeah, we'll be able
There's
to
a,
start sifting
yeah,
through
right. There's a lot to go through. I think you still have, you're still working on getting it,
downloads.
it
Yeah.
downloads. Right, right. So,
Yeah.
all right, everybody, we appreciate Winging a Prayer Day Part 2. And it's possible that Sunday may be Part 3, but keep your fingers crossed that it isn't. So
And if
every
it's not, I'll pick up Sunday
right,
with what we already have set aside that keeps getting bumped, and we'll
okay.
cover it then. And you have fun with the grandbaby.
I appreciate that. All right, everybody, you be safe. Have a good Saturday, and we will see you on Sunday.
All right. And I will look into a file transfer program that's not through Discord that we can both use. So,
Okay, sounds great. All right,
all right.
thank you, Crazy B.
Thank y'all. And here we go. So, with that, I thank you all for showing up, being here. And as usual, stay safe, stay sane, stay sober. I truly appreciate those who showed up and those who are going to be watching later on. I will catch y'all on the next one.